Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Steven here. You're somebody who's been, just had incredible success in the world of business, and you're translating that over now to a whole different area, and which is, I think, really interesting that you've applied this kind of focus and moved it over. But you're somebody who's built up from really not much of anything and was able to master an industry, do something innovative in the space, and went from, you were a busboy turned entrepreneur. That's an incredible transition to becoming a successful entrepreneur from the origins that you had. So I'm excited to have you here and to get into your story.
Thanks. But remember, Ben, I was going to be a doctor, a surgeon.
Mhm.
I have a degree in neurobiopsychology. So I was going to be a thoracic surgeon, a heart surgeon. So you want to talk about pivot, 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 pivot.
Yeah. Wow. So what were you interested in, like, kind of right out of the gate? Like, what were you interested in doing?
Well, after I realized that I didn't want to go to 16 more years of school, I came back to Southern California and took accounting 101 and 102 at Cal State Northridge just to like learn accounting because I had no business experience, like book experience. And I went to UCLA night school to listen to business law, and I learned the shopping center development business. And at the same time, I had met some really fascinating friends, and this is important. Mentors, having mentors. And I do that now today with my son's friends and a lot of other young adults who have the propensity for risk and want to be entrepreneurs. Uh, Michael Milken, I met at 13.
Wow, 13.
Harry Reid at 15. Through my father, relationships, and they both became mentors to me, along with Steve and Elaine Wynn. But I got my business degree, honestly. I never went to business school,
Mm.
but Mike Milken would tell you he gave me my business degree. So to heck with Wharton, I got mine from the Milken School, from the dean, Mike Milken. And for politics and policy, Harry Reid. He was my father's attorney. And Bill Clinton, for that matter. So I've just had some great, great mentors.
Yeah. Those are amazing people to be around. I'm sure it's really helped shape your perspective on life and their ability to make decisions too.
100%. Everything I do today is based on what I've learned and listened to. And of course, created my own brand from those great lessons that I learned from them and things that they didn't do so well that I was able to do better.
Mhm. So, we talked a little bit, you mentioned before about the medical path you were going to go on. You were in another area as well. You tried different things. How did you kind of like wind up getting into specifically like the Resorts International company and, vacations and all of that? Like, when did that passion arise and why that avenue?
It just developed an opportunity. I went from, wanting to be a cardiac surgeon, not knowing, at least knowing that I didn't want to go to school 60 more years, making a decision, pivoting, not knowing what to do, figuring out, um, try real estate. And I learned shopping center development and worked for a company for a couple of years. And they were supposed to pay me a bonus. They didn't. So I started my own company at 24. My first shopping center in Burbank at Victory and Magnolia. And it's still there today, and built shopping centers throughout Southern California. And my father was in the timeshare sales business. Prior to that, the land development business, a la Glengarry Glen Ross. Always be closing, Alec Baldwin. That was my dad. And he taught me always give the customer more than they bargained for. So I've learned all these lessons from so many. And he needed a project built in Las Vegas because I was a builder and he wasn't. I built my first hotel at 29, Polo Towers on the Las Vegas Strip. And from there, it just morphed into getting into the operations of the business. My father selling the business and me buying it back from the people he sold it to. And then doing a deal with Marriott and then buying the most broken company, Sunterra, 20 years unfixable, and taking the risk and having big brass balls. But to me, I don't know. I do the most difficult. If somebody says you can't do it, then I run right into it and do it. And I think that's a theme of most of my life. And I've been around politics 39 years, trained by the greatest Harry Reid and Bill Clinton. And, you know, I come back home to my home state of California. It's so broken. It's not open for business. It's not affordable, livable, workable. And I start looking into it and meeting all the folks that were thinking of running for governor. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? This is the best the state's got to offer. It's almost comical, and that's probably why we're in the position California it's in, because these people all think they're smarter than the people. They have never signed the front of a check. They've never made payroll.
Mhm.
They don't understand respect, responsibility, and results. They're title jumpers. They're looking for this paycheck, which is de minimis. And they forgot about it's the people's money. They really thought about the following. They forgot about that everyone's a customer in California, but they don't even know what that means because they've never done service.
Mm. Right. That's interesting. So you've
I
been
mean,
around politics your whole life.
what's that?
You've been around politics your whole life, maybe through business, so you
Yeah, I
understand.
mean, it's like back of my hand. I've watched the great Harry Reid do what he accomplished, the Reid machine. I've watched Bill Clinton,
Mhm.
and I take little pieces from each one of them and make it my own
Yeah.
and deliver it to the great people of California, the customers of California. I
Mhm.
mean, you're in the customer business. We're all in the customer business. People forget about this. And we always got to deliver results, give people equal or greater value, right? You know, the meaning of yes, which I developed way back when. And I want everyone to do well, and nobody should be ashamed of if their dream is to become successful and well to do. That shouldn't be shamed.
Yeah.
That should be embraced and loved.
Mhm.
And I want everyone to recognize that there is a possibility of doing that in America, because that's what makes America great. This vitriolic language of the hard right and the hard left is only because there's nobody in the center with bravado and a voice. So I hope to bring that to the heart center.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that want to be in the center today. That's for sure.
And that's what's all about. But there just nobody understands it and is willing to go there. It's the
Yeah.
only place I've ever been, Ben.
Uh,
I've never been any other place. And it's funny in this campaign now that I've launched, I know I'm doing the right thing because I'm getting beaten up by the hard right and the hard left, which is like great. And I actually had somebody in the MAGA movement say to me, you know, Cloobeck, you're talking in word salad. I'm like, what are you talking about?
huh.
And then he said to me, you're threatening me because I said I was going to body slam him. I said, so first of all, it's a wrestling term. And I said, oh, if a Democrat just threatened you, then I guess I'm doing the right thing. So you're not so tough as your voice is. Okay?
Mhm.
Shut the fuck up. And, you know, these folks on both sides are just so silly. They're so silly. It's what just do right by everyone.
Mhm.
Do right by everyone. Walk the talk. Walk the talk. They just have a bunch of bravado on both sides. And they don't show results. They want to be the loudest voice in the room, and it's not the right voice for the room. The right voice for the room is giving the customer more than they bargained for. That means tax dollars, being a good steward of them, showing performance and results.
Mhm.
I'll develop the California Department of Performance and Results. Ben, you
Mhm.
know what that's known as?
No.
CPR, which the state needs.
Mhm.
Kind of funny. Back to my medical days. I'm pretty good at CPR, Ben. I fix broken companies. I know how to do it medically too. So you get a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love what I'm doing. It's for the people. I'm unemployable, so I need a job. And I'm good at it. I'm good at fixing broken.
Yeah. So you got your first mall in your 20s.
I'm sorry?
You got your first mall in your 20s. You were already building
Lo-
that.
loan?
Mhm.
I got my first loan. I was 24 years old
Uh,
during the savings and loan days. Yep. But what I did was I learned how to build and
mhm.
I signed personally for it. I had nothing to lose.
You took a
But
lot of risks.
well, risk doesn't bother me as long as it's informed risk.
Mhm.
And I think of unintended consequences, and I learned a lot. But I always pre-leased my assets, so I de-risk. I always de-risk my decision making. I don't just gunsling. I always de-risk. And if I say to somebody, I'm going to do something, it's not a threat, it's a promise. I'm just going to send a missile over the bow to warn you of what I'm going to do. But I lead with love. I lead with values and integrity and inclusivity. INCLOOSIVE. That's trademarked. You're supposed to laugh. When you donate to my campaign, you're clued in. CLOODIN. It's just look, branding and marketing. As you develop what you do too, You got to have a brand. You got to have a little shtick. You got to have a little P.T. Barnum, folks.
Yeah.
That's what sales is about. Bring a show on that they've never seen before,
Mm,
but then deliver results. Deliver results. Take care of people. You make a mistake, return the product.
yeah.
Make your customer happy. Don't get in an argument with them. Just say, you know what, it's not right for you.
So did you have to? I mean, you probably had to deal with politics all the time in your business in terms of establishing new locations and stuff like that. I mean, and you built it from nothing to the second largest vacation ownership company I think in the world at that point. Um, so you've been had years and years of experience, but I mean, you saw the positives and negatives of politics. Like now you're like, I want to jump into it. I mean, obviously you don't have other things
Well,
you're doing, but why do that?
you, you know, it's funny because they say you've never run for election, but I had to buy a publicly traded company and take it private. I didn't need 50 plus 1% of the vote. I needed over 90%.
Wow.
90%. I got 94. I was sweating till the end. But look, they said I have not been in politics, but as you said, I have been all over the world,
Yeah.
35 countries. I had 84 human resource departments, 50 in the United States plus 34.
Yeah.
Worldwide, I've operated in 16 languages, 6 currencies. And I created the tourism department of the United States and worked with Homeland Security, Customs and Borders, Senate, the House, Treasury, Commerce, State Department, Interior, and reported to the Oval Office. Created Brand USA, federal level.
Yeah.
I worked in state level, the Nevada Athletic Association. I had indictment power, Athletic Commission. I had indictment power. The Attorney General, Highway Patrol worked for me. And locally, I did the strip beautification. So I've done local, state, federal. I've changed laws in different states. I changed the law in Delaware,
Mhm.
changed the law in California, Nevada, so many places. And I've been a regulator and I've been an adjudicator and I've fixed broken companies. So I guess I've got a Quinella and the others don't have that experience. So
Yeah.
I use these attributes and this experience to serve because I like serving. I
Mhm.
actually love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's real. I'm authentic. I make decisions based on experience. I think of unintended consequences. And I lead with warmth and compassion. And I'm not afraid to fight the fight. If I have to fight the fight to protect people.
Yeah.
So I'm having a ball.
Yeah. I mean, there are pretty serious problems in California that like you kind of touched on a little bit before, but like one of which people keep talking about is this train that's been going on. It's way over budget and not happening. It hasn't really happened yet. And then you've got issues of homelessness. There's a lot of homeless people. It's sad to see. In some of the best areas, some of those beautiful areas, you've got major problems that need to be solved. How are you kind of thinking about like just
Well,
address this from a business mind?
Ben, there are actually simple solutions to all of these problems. The
Mhm.
reason I'm doing this is because the politicians that were in place now have failed us.
Mhm.
It's going to take business acumen with experience to solve these problems. They're all solvable, by the way. We
Mhm.
can
I
crow
agree.
about our great exports of the state. I mean, a train to nowhere? Give me a break. How come we didn't build the train on top of the freeway system? That's a question. How come we didn't outsource it to the best and brightest in the world, perhaps the French or the Chinese? I mean, the Chinese are building things so goddamn quick. How come we didn't do it? If we really wanted it done with a guaranteed cost, why would we just do this ourselves? We've got to improve affordability. That means
Mhm.
changing some laws and regulations for a little bit of time till we get better regulations. We lost Hollywood. It
That's a
didn't
big
run
thing.
away. We lost the best customers of the state because we were tone deaf to them. When you don't talk to your best customers, what happens? They leave. When the head of the farm workers and the head of Chevron tell you the same thing and they're both juxtaposed, don't you start asking yourself, there's some fundamental problems in the state. So it's going to take new leadership, uh, a fresh set of eyes, which I have. Somebody who's fixed the most broken. Sunterra, 20 years, unfixable. That's just the fundamentals are the same. I've done
Mhm.
my due diligence. I know what to do. I'm going to have to block and tackle, but more importantly, take care of the customers of California.
Mhm. Yeah, I just like your perspective on all of this, like how it's about customers. Like we talk. there's a lot of different talk about like people in your state and how you view them, and the role of it's like almost like you're supposed to serve these people as somebody who's in a position of political power. Like you're like it's a customer. I mean, you think about what you do as a business now. I mean, the businesses that win have the best customer service and they give the best customer experiences. And like that's I think it's a great perspective that you have here. Of like we got to take care of people like their customers.
And Ben, if I do a good job, the income statement, the balance sheet will clean themselves up
Mhm.
because I'll crow about and grow the revenues. We'll have great internal teams. We'll take care of the customer. We'll have performance and results. We'll have efficiency. We'll have integrity because the goal's all for the customer. Okay. And then if I'm really a good leader, my 100% grade will be based on how many great leaders I then teach, coach, counsel, and produce for the future and the longevity of California. That's my grade. It's not just the blocking and tackling and rolling up my sleeves and fixing the income statement and balance sheet. But about great leaders for the future of California, now that's a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
And I don't think any politician thinks like this because I'm not a politician.
Yeah, I mean, your point about Hollywood is so important. It's been like an exodus of Hollywood.
Well, that's because the state forgot about its power. They forgot about its best customers. Best customers is not just taxpayers, it's agriculture, it's travel and tourism, it's innovation and manufacturing, it's entertainment, which is Hollywood,
Mhm.
and it's also education. So these are pillars, great exports of a state, specifically the country, the state of California. We're the fourth largest GDP in the world. We're a country. Start acting like one.
Mhm. How are you thinking about taking some of your experience, like just in like the vacation kind of business, and like making California more attractable for people wanting to vacation and have great experiences at? Because like that's kind of bread and butter that you really have down pat.
It all ties in together. It's about taking care of people.
Mhm.
It's about the California experience. Okay, so travel and tourism, visit California, who I know well. They work with me on the Brand USA board, and nobody's just paid attention to crow about it. It's so easy. It's
Mhm.
so easy. It's so easy to interconnect all these great exports together.
Mhm.
It's about communication and understanding the team and what we have to offer. California travel and tourism, we have interstate travel. We have intrastate from other states into ours and international visitation. It's not that difficult. It's just getting the Riz back in California because I know the assignment, pal. Okay? You like my little lingo? I even know how to slay it, but I won't crash out. I know that's a bit much. A boomer talking like Gen X, only because my children taught me. I'm just trying to relate. Just trying to relate.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you laughing though.
Yeah. Well, I think that you're trying to run a different campaign here. And I like the business perspective always coming into this stuff because I mean you're really accountable when you're running a company. You have people depending on you for paychecks, and the decisions you make are I mean they really affect lives. So it translates right over to anything government related. It's pretty simple. And,
Everyone's got to be able to afford a house,
yeah.
pay for an apartment, eggs, bread, milk, cheese, gas. Immigration's important. Okay. Safety and security is important.
Mm,
Education's important. Leisure time's important. All right. Quality of life, the climate. It's all spinning plates at one time, making everyone's experience within the state what it should be. The best state in the world, the best country in the world, the best state in the United States, of course, but also having the bravado of being on offense, not defense. We don't resist. I don't resist anything. We fight. We
mhm.
fight for what we love here.
Yeah.
So that's what's so enjoyable about this.
How do you think about being like kind of less partisan, like getting along with all different sides, and because you got two different movements, right now, and how do you
I get
kind of
along with it. I get along with everybody,
yeah.
but I'm not afraid to tell somebody to shove it up their ass. It's just be sweet. Be sweet. Just don't go there. Don't fight with me. I don't want to fight with you. I want to have a conversation with you. I want to have a non-vitrolic conversation. What are your desires? I'll tell you mine. And I bet they overlap a lot.
Hmm.
Instead of having these partisan fights, I've worked nonpartisan my whole life. When I did travel and tourism in the United States
Yeah.
federally, I worked with Roy Blunt, Republican, Amy Klobuchar, Democrat, but we were Americans.
Right. We have to get back
Simple.
there.
Well, that's what I bring to the table because I have friends on all sides. Just don't lead with hate. Just come with love and integrity, and I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I also like when, when it comes to your book and the quotes around, facing hard truths. Like you've got Bill Clinton, and you've got people on all sides. You have Gary Brecka, who's now a little more right leaning, and you've got everybody. I think it's really nice how you've kind of tied this in together, where you've got this unison here.
Ben, because they're all my friends.
Yeah.
We're the hard center. And, instead of being tribal, I'm unifying. And, we all sit down at the table together. It's no different.
Yeah.
It's what we do normally until everyone goes to their what was tribal camp. I'm just disrupting that.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm disrupting it. And sometimes you got to just say, shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
knock it off.
Mhm.
And you do it with love. It's just like, come on, let's do the right thing. Let's row the boat together.
Mhm. Have you thought
We're,
about what your day one would look like? Like what does that look like day one when you get in?
Day one, we're gonna have a lesson on integrity and trust and communication. That's how I always fix the most broken first. We talk about integrity, trust, and communication.
Uh,
Once we get that settled and we have rules of engagement, then we can go forward to start
so you set
fix
standards right away.
always and then hold each other accountable to those standards. But we all agree to them day one
What does that look
because you
like?
gotta know what the rules are.
Yeah.
That's how you start. That's what you do to fix broken. And you lean in and you create trust and build trust. That goes both ways. Goes both ways.
What does that look like? It's a conversation with everybody and kind of explaining a certain set of standards we want and how we
Oh, I would do things that I don't know if they've even been done before. I'd get every single person on Team California on a phone call.
uh,
I don't even know if they've ever done that or thought about that, but that's how I talk to a broken company day one. Everyone gets on one call and we have an agenda and we set our mission and we have rules of engagement on how we're going to communicate with one another. And we talk about integrity and trust. And then we open up to Q&A, which everyone's terrified of doing, and I'm not. Just Q&A. Just ask any question you want. Just don't call my children ugly. And, it's with humor too. It's
yeah,
with humor. And this is how you fix broken. And if you haven't done it, it's an art, Ben. It's an art.
yeah.
And I know no other competitor that I'm running against today has that experience.
Mm.
And I don't need notes. I don't need notes.
How do you make sure that people that are working with you are all action oriented like you? That they're really on top of them.
I give everyone the opportunity to show what they got.
Yeah.
Look, everyone gets to prove themselves. I got to prove myself to everybody, and they've got to prove themselves to everybody too. I didn't say to me, to everybody, because guess what? We all rode together.
Right.
So if we have one or two that aren't rowing or they become a cancer, you got to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
You got to go, it's called go CHR.
Hmm.
You're unproductive.
Yeah. Yeah. Stephen, have you thought about the California fires and like what you would have done differently?
Oh, look. Yeah, because I rolled up my sleeves and I got out in the field, and you didn't see me on the news because I don't politicize disasters. I'm not trained that way. There are a lot of people that get on the news and talk, and I think they just myopic. I went out and was delivering water to the first responders and protein bars and talking to folks and
That's great.
taking care of those in need because that's what real people in service do. And those that saw me saw me. I was out every day for 6 weeks. And, I saw fire stations that didn't have washers and dryers. And I'm like, in what world? The crazy things. I saw reservoirs not being fixed quite properly. I mean, people forget, and actually government wants you to forget, but I don't let anyone forget. I just get things done. So I started solving the problems of the politicians myself with others to deliver, what the people needed. And look, the mayor shouldn't have left. They should have never cut the budgets for life safety. You just don't do these things if you've been an operator. You take care of, life safety. You never shirk when it comes to life safety. People's lives, that's what we pay taxes for. The reservoir in Palisades should have been fixed, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever. And these politicians have told a lot of untruths, and they got to be held accountable. And if anyone votes these folks back in office, then they're just part of the problem themselves. If you can't get any more, it can't get any more in your face with the failure of leadership. It doesn't make a difference to recall them right now. Just vote them out of office next term in June of 26. Now's the time. Other than that, it's, there's just so many failures, because we've elected people that just don't deserve to be in office.
Well, what does now till June of next year look like for you?
Just getting out and meeting people. And I've met hundreds, if not thousands, of people all over California. I'm very familiar with the 58 counties. Just name ID. People need to get to know who I am.
Yeah.
And my podcast launches next week on iHeartRadio.
Nice.
My book is out at Barnes & Noble and Amazon, Facing Hard Truths. My podcast is called Hard Truths with Stephen J. Cloobeck on iHeartRadio. And I think the more you listen and hear, I think the more you're going to like, because I'm here to serve and take care of everybody.
Yeah. I mean, one of the points of your campaign is fascinating to me. It's something that you would think is so basic, but it's so important, which is just a return to competence. And like how we get there, and that's through your action-oriented principles, is what you're talking about here. But I mean, that's the difference between a state that makes it versus doesn't, a state that takes care of its people, versus leaves them behind. I mean, return to competence is the biggest priority I think everybody wants today with everything.
Yeah, you shouldn't even run for office unless you're competent to run. I mean, when I ran tourism in the United States, I found out folks didn't understand balance sheet income statement. They didn't understand geography. They were voting on issues of China, and they'd never been to China. There are folks that didn't even have passports. And I'm like, what?
Mm.
We have some fundamental issues in our country and our states and our local government where people need to take a deeper look before they cast a vote.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a trust element that needs to be brought back. With some.
Well, they have to be doing it for the right reasons. They're all title jumpers and want the check.
Mm-hmm.
What competence do they really have?
Yeah. So you've got the podcast. You mentioned the book came out as well. How are you kind of thinking about like engaging with voters? Like, there's all different types of strategies say people are using. I mean, one of them that's really popular is like these going to college campuses and just talking to people.
Well, we'll be on college campuses. We're going to state fairs.
Mm-hmm.
We have engagement with TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I'm very involved in social media. And look, if you remember, what did I do at all my hotels? I booked my business card at every front desk with my live cell and the live email.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some ideas and opportunities to really be very, very customer facing for all the customers of California. So much so that people go, oh my God, nobody's done this before. But it's about taking care of people. And that's the obligation. That's really the job. Creating great leaders and delivering equal or greater value. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
You just have to have done it and have to have a different mindset. And it is a mindset not of a politician. It's a mindset of an entrepreneur business leader that understands politics and policy.
Yeah. But it's also fascinating you want to do this because you don't really have to. And you're going to face, criticism potentially from both sides. You already have.
So what? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. As long as I take care of the customers of California.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference to me. Say whatever you want. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at that point in my life where it does not mean anything to me. You can't say anything to me that would offend me.
Yeah.
Other than saying my kid's ugly. You do that, then I'm coming at you. But keep my kids out of it. But, I just want everyone to do well. So you're going to have haters. There's haters everywhere. Big deal. As I built Diamond Resorts, I had haters. I said, go stay at Marriott or Hilton. I don't care.
Mhm.
I'm not going to please everybody.
Yeah.
But if I please the super majority, we do better than we're doing today, then we've been successful.
Yeah. You made yourself so accessible at Diamond. I think that's a key aspect of the success too. Like some people, they put themselves so high on a pedestal, and you can't reach them, you can't talk to them, but you're engaged. You got to
No,
be.
after I fixed the balance sheet and income statement of California and some of the fundamental laws and regulations, I'll be in the field every day. I love that. I love people. I did that at Diamond. I spent all my time in the field at all my resorts worldwide,
Mhm.
listening to people. That's really the job. Teaching, coaching, counseling, and talking to my team and my guests.
Yeah. And people also forget how much of like the state interacts internationally. It's such a big producer of a lot of different industries that dealing with people all
Mm-hmm.
around the world, you have that experience already too. And you understand that. You understand how to deal with different countries. You've been there,
You have to
established
be
before.
culturally thoughtful and sensitive to those that you're dealing with. It's not just big bad America.
Mhm.
You got to be thoughtful. I've done it. I've done that too, and the others have not. So there's a lot of. I'm having a good time. Like I said, Ben, this is fun. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was not on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I did not aspire to do this. It just kind of fell in my lap, and it's actually a nice pivot. It's fun.